जब गुजरात में था तब भी मैंने लोगों के सामने रखा था और यहाँ आया तो यहाँ भी कहा था। मैंने कहा मैं देशवासियों को वादा करता हूँ कि मैं कभी भी परिश्रम करने में पीछे नहीं रहूँगा। दूसरा मैं कहता था कि मैं बद इरादे से कोई काम नहीं करूँगा। और तीसरा मैं कहता था मेरे लिए मैं कुछ नहीं करता। मेरे इन 3 कसौटियों पर मैंने अपने आप को तोल करके रखा।
मुझे कितने ही गालियां दे, मैं तो भगवान शिव का भक्त हूं। सारा जहर निगल देता। भारत के विदेश मंत्री पर भरोसा नहीं करोगे, इसीलिए ये वहां बैठे हैं और 20 साल तक वहीं बैठने वाले।
सौगंध मुझे इस मिट्टी की, मैं देश नहीं मिटने दूंगा, मैं देश नहीं झुकने दूंगा। जो सिंदूर मिटाने निकले थे उन्हें मिट्टी में मिलाया है।
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As journalists, we are chroniclers of events and of personality as we are of the history that this country is making and the world with it. Every once in a while, we encounter not just a person, but a phenomenon. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is one such phenomenon, whose very name has now become the superlative, synonymous with excellence, persistence and commitment. Modi hai to mumkin hai is a phrase that has acquired a currency that spells trust. Modi ki guarantee, they call it. As Prime Minister, Narendra Modi today turns 75. It is the trust he inspires and the faith that he commands that turns colleagues, celebrities, even world leaders into admirers, friends, and often fans.
एक बार मैं उनके साथ अहमदाबाद से राजकोट जाता था। मैंने देखा उन्होंने कुछ फल और वेफर जैसा कुछ खाया थोड़ा, और मैंने पेट भरकर खा लिया। रात को मैंने सोचा कि इन्होंने तो खाया ही नहीं, तो गाड़ी किसके लिए खड़ा रहा? गाड़ी साथी कार्यकर्ता के लिए खड़ा रहा।
It was my first budget speech. It was a 2.5-hour budget speech, and I was dehydrated. People wondered what was wrong with me, and slowly I had to sit down. I wouldn't have reached home. There was a call from PM saying, "What have you done? Why you take care of yourself?" He had sent his personal doctor, to take care of me.
जो आपकी कहानी है छोटे से शहर से लेकर ग्लोबल स्टेज तक, वो बहुत ही ज्यादा इंस्पायरिंग है। सच तो ये है सर कि 75 साल की उम्र में जो आपकी बेस है, एनर्जी है, वो हम जैसे जवान लोगों को भी पीछे छोड़ देती है।
हैप्पी बर्थडे सर। हमारे देश के विकास के लिए जो आपने योगदान दिए हैं वो हमेशा याद किए जाएंगे। हमारी ये भी प्रार्थना है कि ऊपर वाला आपको हमेशा शक्ति दे कि आप भारत को हमेशा आगे ले जाएं, उन्नति की ओर ले जाएं, प्रगति की ओर ले जाएं।
The Gates Foundation values our partnership with the Government of India immensely. Together, we are supporting progress towards Viksit Bharat. Once again, my warmest wishes to you on this milestone occasion.
Happy birthday to my friend Prime Minister Modi. Australia is proud to share such a strong friendship with India. I look forward to catching up with you soon, Prime Minister.
Kia ora, namaskar, my good friend Prime Minister Modi. Congratulations on your 75th birthday from me and all of your friends across New Zealand. A milestone like this is a moment to reflect on the wisdom of your leadership as you seek to guide India towards becoming a developed country by 2047.
India's Prime Minister may be topping global popularity charts with a US-based firm naming him the world's most popular democratic leader with a 75% approval rating. Yet, back home, the opposition can't find a kind word for the man who has clinically kept them out of power at the center for 11 straight years. They are busy compiling a long list of failures, firing statements from the slippery pedestal that they've struggled to stand on while claiming an elusive moral high ground.
The country had enough, and now it's a time for him to relieve the nation. He himself had decided the morals and standards of being in a politics. Today evening or tomorrow, Prime Minister should morally quit the post.
ये हमारे लिए ब्लैक डे है क्योंकि आज हमारे देश में अघोषित इमरजेंसी चल रही है, अनडिक्लेयर्ड इमरजेंसी चल रही है, ऑपोजिशन को बोला नहीं दे रहे हैं, वोट चोरी वहाँ पे हो रही है, प्रेस के सारे जो राइट्स है वो खींचे गए हैं.
फॉरेन पॉलिसी में हम लोग फेलियर हैं. सबसे ज्यादा बेरोजगार अगर कहिए तो भारत में. हमारे किसान की मदद नहीं कर पा रही सरकार, बताओ.
However, as Prime Minister Modi always says, no matter how much you abuse him, as a devotee of Lord Shiva, he swallows all the poison, unrelenting and undeterred. The Jan Sevak has stayed put on Kartavya Path. Despite diminished numbers, Modi Sarkar has resolutely pursued landmark reforms from Waqf Amendment Law to Constitution Amendment Bill to remove Prime Minister, Chief Ministers if detained for 30 days, to GST reforms and national safety. Modi's resolve has been unshaken. So what explains this ironclad resolve and the leadership skill? We speak to those who have seen, not often revealed side of Prime Minister Modi, who even on his birthday hasn't lost sight of his mission.
मुझे 2047 तक विकसित भारत बना के रहना है और उसका रास्ता आत्मनिर्भर भारत से जाता है. हमारे वीर जवानों ने पलक झपकते ही पाकिस्तान को घुटनों पर ला दिया. ये नया भारत है. ये किसी की परमाणु धमकियों से डरता नहीं है.
So ladies and gentlemen, the only legitimate question that we want to ask on the Newshour tonight is, what makes Modi stand apart? What gives him his iconic status? What makes him the most popular leader, somebody who's trumped the popularity charts worldwide and still remains, for many people, the man who they can trust? That's the question, and that is the debate tonight on the Newshour.
You're watching the Newshour at night. Debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
And joining me tonight, Ajay Singh, author and press secretary to the President. Ajay Singh has authored a book on Prime Minister Modi and how he has changed the face of the BJP. Also joining me this evening, Dr. David Frawley, Vedic scholar and author. Also joining me this evening, my friend Amish Tripathi, author and a man who has been at the helm of affairs at the Nehru Center in London. Also on the show tonight with me is Dr. Devi, Shetty, chairman and founder of the Narayana Health Centers, and Sudarshan, chairman of TVS Motors, joining me on the Newshour. Let me begin with you, Ajay Singh. Given the fact that you've authored a book and you've seen Modi very closely, first as a journalist like many of us from this side of the fence and then from that side, on how the intricate working style of Narendra Modi has changed the complete DNA of politics and the DNA of the BJP as it exists today.
Yeah, you're right, Navika. He's an exceptional leader in every sense of the term. You see, his career chart is different. I mean, if you look at the career chart, you will find that he has never been associated, directly associated with electoral politics till 2001. So he was basically an organization man. And from there, he takes over as the chief minister. And from chief minister, it has been, almost 25 years. Either he has been heading the state or he is the prime minister. So in 25 years, he retains the trust of the people. That is something which is in post-independent political history. I have not seen any other leader except him. So I have always been saying that there is no parallel except Mahatma Gandhi, who had the profound understanding of Indian social psychology, and after that Modi had that kind of understanding. So he has profound understanding of social psychology of India, and you will see that his trust has not declined a bit. As a journalist, you might have seen several phenomena as a leaders like VP Singh, Rajiv Gandhi, and so many others. But it was not able to endure itself. After 5 years or after 2.5 years, it faded out. So in that case, Modi is absolutely exceptional.
Absolutely exceptional, but what makes him that exceptional is something we need to delve into. And Amish Tripathi, I want to ask you, is he truly blessed because he's a Shiva Bhakt, you're a Shiva Bhakt, and your Shiva trilogy and your books on Shiva maybe give you a special insight into that? Is this just pure divine blessing, or is there a combination of things that make the man that he is, Narendra Modi, and the fact that while some call him an extremely polarizing figure, of course those are the people in the opposition, but the others call him a man responsible for both the cultural and the civilizational, renaissance of India. How do you see him, and how do you describe this phenomenon?
Navika, first of all, with all respect to all gods and goddesses of all religions, nothing happens without Lord Shiva's blessings. As has been said wonderfully, yad yad karma karomi tatadakilam shambho tavaradhanam. Every act that I'm sure the Prime Minister does is a prayer in honor of Lord Shiva. But if I may just make a few comments on the points that you made. I'm not in Nehru Centre, London anymore. I'm back in India, back in Mumbai. But at the moment, by happenstance, I happen to be in London just for a few days for some work. And I want to make 3 comments from the perspective of the government and elite circles in the West, in London and the US. The first point, one of the debates that's happening in the UK as well is that there's a demand for an end of the dominance of the so-called Eton, Oxford, Cambridge old boys network. The old elite that has been dominating British politics for a long time, and there is a debate that a lot of what has gone wrong in the UK is a part of this elitism. An elite political class that simply does not get what the common people in the UK want. In India, on the other hand, Prime Minister Modi represents the masses rising. It's a triumph of the democratic system. A man from his background, from his social, educational, economic background, has risen all the way to the top. There was no one to help him. There's no family background, nothing. So that's the first thing, and which is a first of its kind in India at the national level, but is dramatic and transformational even from the Western paradigm. That's the first thing. The second thing, I actually, last night I was at a dinner with some friends, with an industrialist and some British government top bureaucrats, lords were also out there. And one of them, a native British guy, a white British guy, he told me that the thing with your Prime Minister, I won't take names of the Western leaders that he referred to, obviously. I'm still a former diplomat. But he said that many of the Western leaders don't seem to have a sense of clarity and calmness, whereas your Prime Minister is a very calm, stable guy. And he's managing many of the vicissitudes and the storms of the modern day so well. For example, the way the tariff tantrum has been handled so well by Prime Minister Modi. And at a critical time like this, when the post-World War global order is collapsing, it is so critical that we have a leader like this, because his impact, a new order is being formed now. And Prime Minister Modi's impact will ensure that we have a good place in the new order that emerges, which will help us for decades. You know, there's a lovely Urdu line, lamhon ne khata ki, sadiyon ne saza pai. This happened to us at the end of the Second World War. It will not happen this time. And I think a large part of the reason for that is Prime Minister Modi.
Well said. And Dr. Devi Shetty, you know, when I look at you and I see you in your scrubs, I just happen to go back to those days of huge challenge for the entire world, more so for India, given our population, given our lack of infrastructure, especially health services. And the COVID years, the pandemic years really come back and flash in your memory. You've been somebody who's worked closely on several issues with the Prime Minister. For you, what does he embody, and you know, what makes him different, stand apart? Why are we even discussing? Why is the world even today taking note of a 75th birthday milestone of the Indian Prime Minister? Is there something you know, that really works for you, that tells you why people are doing so?
Navika, what Prime Minister Modi has done for many sectors, especially health sector and medical education, is nothing short of magic. I will give you certain data. In 2014, that's nearly 60 years after the independence, India managed to create 387 medical colleges. In just 10 years, after he took, 9 years after, the change happened, now we have 780 medical colleges, which is unthinkable. Medical sector, medical education sector is the most complex animal to handle. And to increase double the number of medical colleges in just 10 years, unthinkable. In 2014, we had 51,000 medical seats. Today we have nearly 120,000 medical seats. That is increasing the number of seats by nearly 127%. Similarly, the post-graduation seats. And then recent, the last Republic Day speech, he announced that he has the desire to add 70,000 medical seats in 5 years. There is no country or no prime minister in the world who will have the guts to announce that we are adding 70,000 medical seats. There are very few countries in the world which have that many seats. These are unthinkable. So essentially, in my opinion, India will become the first country in the world to dissociate healthcare from wealth. And India will do it within 5 to 7 years because of the investment Prime Minister Modi has made on healthcare and medical education. For me, I just want to tell you something interesting, Navika. I was born few years after independence. As a kid, I loved reading newspapers. Every time I read the news of a statement by visiting dignitaries from the rich countries, stating that, oh, India is the country of the future, it used to make me very happy. But I waited and waited and waited for 60 years, expecting the country of the future to make its announcement of the arrival. And I was getting nervous. I almost gave up. Now I can hear the knocking on the door. The country of the future is about to arrive. It's a matter of time, and I'm extremely grateful to him for making it happen.
Well said. But David Frawley, let me ask you. It's all about brand Modi. Some people say it's only about the packaging, the branding, the marketing of Modi that makes him this larger than life figure. At least if you look at it from the specs of the opposition, that's what you will find. But on the other hand, there are people, common people on the ground, you know, in rural areas, middle classes, lower middle classes, who believe that this man has made material change in their lives. David Frawley, how do you decode what such diverse opinions about Prime Minister Modi actually mean? What is the reality?
Yes, Navika, very important question. But I would say you have leaders who lead the country and lead the people. Modi leads with the people, and he inspires them, and he communicates with them at a ground level in their personal lives, their practical lives, their education, health, economy, but also spirituality, traditions. And it is not just about brand Modi, it's about brand Bharat, and it is about awakening the deeper inspiration behind India, from its independence movement to its vision of the future, the aspiration of the people. And no one is left out. All are brought together and looking for that greater vision of Bharat, which is also helping to guide the world. And on the diplomatic level, working with other leaders of other countries, he is the most friendly, the most concerned, the most communicative of the world leaders today. And he is not imposing India or anything upon the world. He is asking all of us to work together for the good of all, including for the earth and the planet and the future of humanity. Peace, not just as a political or military item, but an interconnection between people of all different countries. You can see how he communicates throughout Europe. He's brought up the global south. He's brought up the educational and also the communicational levels. He can speak to any group. Of course, at times it has to be. And he's bringing about a civilizational awakening in India. All these other cultures, Europe is losing its culture, US, all these countries. India's culture of thousands of years is awakening, and he's rewriting history from the beginning of the ancient period, showing this wonderful civilization which has endured every possible attack from the outside, but has maintained its core inspirations from the inside for the benefit of the world, not just caught up in mere political boundaries or social economic needs, but also a world vision. And I would say he is the most popular and the most inspiring of the world leaders today.
But you say he's rewriting history, and that is a red flag for many in the opposition who have served us history in a certain way. But before I get back to Amish Tripathi on that question, let me also welcome Dr. Krishna Ella on the panel, the vaccine man. What do you see in Prime Minister Modi in your interactions, especially in a crisis situation that COVID had brought upon this nation? What is it that, gave you the sense that this is a man of character and that is safe in his hands?
So, Navika, thank you very much for being here. And I think, when nobody thought that Indian company will make a vaccine, that is pandemic vaccine. When US and UK was making, they will never thought that India will make it. And I think Modi Saab have visited our plant personally at the COVID time, lockdown. He came and he never met any politician. He never met anyone. Everybody wanted to meet him. He said no. He came to our plant, spent almost 45 minutes, inspired us, he trusted us. He just in 35, 40 minutes, he trusted us. We trust you, proceed. But you want help. Anything you want help, we'll help you. That is, I think, very significant motivation. We are not sure whether this vaccine will work or not work and all that, but we still made it to happen. And I think most importantly, that is one significant contribution. Second is, when we still not finally approved our vaccine, and he was the first one to sign in a consent form in a clinical trial and took the vaccine. Tell me which honorable Prime Minister will take a vaccine which is still not finally approved. That means he had a trust on the Indian vaccine. And I think, when you meet him personally, he's a very humble man, simple man. Only when you see on TV, he's different to us. He looks very different in the TV.
Well, are you talking about Prime Minister Narendra Modi? But Dr. Devi Shetty, if you heard the opposition and his critics, you would think that he is a dictator. He doesn't allow any freedom to anybody. He just, is a road roller, and he just does everything his way. Which Narendra Modi are we talking about? Why are there so many different interpretations of him, Dr. Devi Shetty? Can you find and decipher for us what this disease is and why do we see things differently like this?
I look at things dramatically different than what you have been talking about. My idea about him is that he has the unique character of inspiring people across the country to achieve what they think it's not achievable. This is the greatest spirit of inspiring people in many occasions for me personally and to the many people who I know. And his knack for choosing the right people to lead various government departments so that departments which were considered like virtually inert became totally transformed once the right person heads those departments. I can name many such departments which have brought about massive changes in the outlook of the entire world.
I know. I think this country needs that. But Amish Tripathi, you wouldn't believe that if you heard, his critics. Because according to them, he's running the country into the ground. My point to you is that, are we eulogizing and creating, a phenomenon where we're not, are we making gods with feet of clay? Is this just pure sour grapes for his critics that they're not in power and therefore they have to run him down?
Navika, look, I mean, politicians will do what politicians must. That's okay. It's the way it is across the world. But to give you a sense of the transformational changes happening again, as you know, I'd lived in London for some 4.5 years. A small project, which is the expansion of the Heathrow airport. Anyone who's traveled through Heathrow or landed in Heathrow, you know the troubles that you go through and how jam-packed and overcrowded that airport is. They've been trying for more than a decade to expand it, add one more runway, more terminals. It's gone nowhere, and they don't have a shortage of money in the UK. In that same period, from post-COVID till now, look at the city I live in, Mumbai. A new terminal, perhaps the largest in Asia, is opening. I mean, it was started just a few years back and it's opening in a few months, right? We are building how many? 7 or 8? I've lost count how many number of metro lines we are building simultaneously within Mumbai, right? 4 of them have opened already. A coastal road with a tunnel under the sea has been built in the same time. A bridge from South Mumbai to the mainland, all within the last 5-6 years. These are transformational, and I say this to people in the UK, they find it difficult to believe the pace and scale of changes that are happening. And it's not just infrastructure. You spoke about history earlier. Let me tell you, because look, the infrastructure impacts maybe the next 10-15 years, but what you do in culture impacts the next 50-70 years. And which is where I as an author appreciate the Prime Minister, the Honorable Prime Minister, so much more, because the changes that he's making here will help us over the next 50-70 years. The way history was taught to us and has been taught to us post-independence was designed to make us feel inferior. All our historical narratives were built during the British Raj. If you think about a few key things, and the Prime Minister himself has spoken of this, the British colonial rule is not called the Christian invasion, but the Turkic colonial rule is called the Islamic invasion. If you think about it, it's very mischievous. And this was done during the British times. Why in God's name did our establishment historians carry forward with this post-1947? The Prime Minister has made it very clear. He says 1,000 years of foreign rule. It has nothing to do with Indian Muslims. That's the first point. Second point, think about what the true story of the last 1,000 years is. The way it's been presented to us in our history books, it's almost like the story of our invaders. It's not the story of our ancestors who fought those invaders. The story of the last 1,000 years, the way it's been presented to us, is that we were just losing every battle one after another. Our ancestors were cowards or divided, and we are meant to be ruled by foreigners. When the actual way to look at the last 1,000 years of history is that this is the greatest resistance movement in human history by any indigenous group of people ever. Every other indigenous group of people surrendered to these same foreign invaders, the Turks, the Persians, the Europeans, British, Portuguese. They went to all other parts of the world. They wiped out practically all indigenous cultures. We are the only pre-Bronze Age culture that is still alive. The story of the last 1,000 years is a story of heroic resistance. Our ancestors were the toughest people around. This is the narrative we should learn. And I'm delighted that the Prime Minister is changing our history books to reflect this narrative. It's not 1,000 years of cowardice. It's 1,000 years of heroic and powerful resistance. We should be proud of our ancestors.
Yes, absolutely. And I come from the state of Punjab, and Punjabi Khatris are people who are the warrior classes. And clearly that's the way, we've thought of our own selves, but our history books didn't quite mirror that kind of interpretation. But Dr. Krishna, to me, something that's very different that Prime Minister Modi has done is that somehow being somebody is not your card into the, top table.
True, Navika. I think you look at it, I'm from a small farming family. Nothing, no pedigree, no business sense. I came from US thinking that I'll do something for India, nothing else. But I was a US citizen. When Modi was elected, within 2 years, I surrendered my American passport. Okay? So I thought this ecosystem is changing. We need to be part of the system to make it happen. Okay? So I think, not only here, I think even my son and my grandchildren, okay, and also getting inspired. It's not just one generation. We see the impact. It's happening in the next second and third generations. My son wanted to be in US. Now he has come back from Harvard, back to India. My grandson, who is here, whom Prime Minister Modi met him also, he says, how is the grandpa? Okay? You see the attachment that he gets in. And I think, so a lot of people that inspire the younger generation. I think this is what is creating impact now. It is not my generation alone. It is going to have next 2 generations. That impact will be there. Okay? And I have a strong feel that you see that many startups in Bangalore and all that. Nobody has got a pedigree of big entrepreneurs where they're not from rich families and all that. that ecosystem that is created today in the country, everybody can dream something big. And something, yes, we have hurdles, but the hurdles also gives an opportunity for a startup to break that hurdle to become an entrepreneur. If everything system is very easy, then everybody, all other people will come and take over the business. So that barrier also helping us, every Indian guys, to beat that barriers and come out as a successful entrepreneurs. I think, the ecosystem is changing. Now, what it took 10 years, 9 years, 10 years was one level. The next 5 years level will be rapid. See, we are like elephant. It takes time, momentum, slowly making a crawling first, and then after that it runs.
Correct.
So I think now we are in the starting phase of the running. Thank you.
Absolutely. But also with us is Sudarshan Venu. And Sudarshan Venu, what is your assessment of the Prime Minister's economic vision and policy? You're relatively younger on the panel, and your view of, how he actually connects with the youth. Have you seen that happening? If you can share your takeaways with our viewers tonight.
I think the Prime Minister has a remarkable and phenomenal ability to think big, to work relentlessly to execute on his vision, and that has resulted in a transformation of society. His economic policies, if you look at it, including direct benefit transfer, demonetization, GST, UPI, all together, have created a framework for digital payments and unleashed the world's leading digital financial ecosystem in India. It has also created a sense of entrepreneurship across all sections of society. In addition, if you look at the economic growth that has been unleashed in its time, it is really fantastic. India has gone from being a fragile 5 economy to a top 5 economy. This has created huge amount of opportunities for all of us to grow. We have been inspired by his thoughts. I have personally really been inspired by every interaction with him, his understanding of issues, and his ability to go into details while also thinking so big. And the scale of the transformation that has happened in India over the last 10, 11 years has really been unprecedented. This has created a huge amount of opportunities for companies like us to grow in India. It has unleashed consumption. It has led to the growth of the middle class. It is now, with the GST cuts as well, leading to an upgradation in consumption to more premium products across India and across sections of society. It has also given us opportunities to grow abroad. The respect India has today, and that flows to Indian products and Indian companies. It enables us to get capital, opportunities, talent, and all of this has turbocharged the growth of the Indian economy and Indian companies. And this has led to a huge impact on society and upliftment of society, leading to a better quality of life and moving firmly in the direction of Viksit Bharat by 2047.
Very, very well said. But Ajay Singh, do you think we've moved on, to the world from being a country of snake charmers and elephants to now being a country that can actually provide, probably in a few years, semiconductors, be, a country that keeps our head held high and takes its own geopolitical decisions, its own decisions of Atmanirbharta? Do you think all that is because of this new subtext that has been brought in, that we are, we have our own skills and we can do it? Before this, we were always looking for some sort of recognition or endorsement or something. Are we on the right track? Now we decide we are on the right track. Nobody can question us. Has that subtext of the Indian people also changed with Modi?
Yeah, that you're absolutely right, because that validation from the other countries, from other people, that has gone. So we don't need any validation as such. So that is the message if you look at the geopolitical situation. But I'll take the cue from Amish, what he said, Amish ji just said about infrastructure. I would like to give you one example. I had been to US recently, and there I found to my satisfaction that students, I was visiting some of the educational institutions, and there I found that students from Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities from India, they are admitted over there. So we should not, we should also appreciate that digital India, it has given access to opportunities to all over India, and it has democratized the opportunities. So that is something, when I saw this, I was really happy about it, that students from Panipat, from Sonipat, from Jalna, from different parts of the state, different parts of the country, they were there. So what I want to say that this digital infrastructure is also an important component in rebuilding the society.
Absolutely, for a man who has been chief minister. I mean, he's not been a minister, he's not been an MLA before that, he's not been in political life, he's been a pracharak. He gets in at the level of the chief minister and then spends 12 straight years and then another 13 straight years there and 12 as prime minister, 25 years at the helm of decision making at a state level, at a national level, never lost an election. His popularity has only grown over the last 25 years. Well, if this is not a man you call a phenomenon, then what is? And the sense of pride that he's brought in India. Nobody can say that we were not patriotic or we were not proud of being Indians before this. But the subtext, the narrative and the sense of pride that has changed over the last decade or so is truly something that people notice, not just in India, but Indians living abroad, foreigners, everybody says this is a new resurgent India with a new confidence and a jump and a spring in its stride. And that is something that has probably been done by the various decisions that have been taken for this country, for the people of this country by one man, Narendra Modi. Whether it is UPI, whether it is Jan Dhan accounts, whether it is Article 370, whether it is GST, there have been tectonic shifts in the way we think. And that is why the thought process, the action, everything has changed. Today, truly, it is a new India. And tonight, you've heard it from those who've seen all of this happening at close quarters with the chief decision maker of the country, Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Thank you very much to my esteemed panelists for joining me on this very enlightening discussion. On the other side, I'm joined by the one and only Sadhguruji and his insights into the man, the blueprint and the insights into the mind and spirit of Narendra Modi.